counter the national trade.
Yeah.
Oh,
Really?
That's what the website said, yeah.
we can use some of each, I think.
National Child Mental Awareness Day and National Teacher Appreciation Day. We have one guest in the house, Laura Slesar. We're gonna invite her up. John Jacob, come on up. How are you, John?
Hello, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I want to thank you again for all those who participated in the Green Day. Fantastic job. Dozens of bags out there. I think we went with about 40, 50 bags. I think I came back with like 15. So great job picking up trash. I drove past it yesterday at Marshall and it looks great. There was no 7-Eleven gulps or one of the something. I think I could visibly see, but great job picking it up. And any interesting stories of what was weirdest thing picked up? I had a hubcap.
We don't want to know.
No, John, I just wanted to thank you.
You did a great job hosting. I got there, there's a table like this set up. Coffee, donuts.
Coffee, donuts, and
It was great.
green bags. Great, thank you, Nate. So thank you again, everybody. So, our guest today is Laura. I met Laura through BNI, a business group that I'm involved with. A phenomenal woman, fantastic thing that she does. It helps empower women and gives them self-confidence to deal with multiple things. Let me just read about her bio here. So Laura lives and worked in 10 years in a dorm program at Rock Point School in Burlington, where she was barely older than the students she taught. Those students taught her how to listen, to be patient, to see the good in people, and almost everything. Years later, Laura worked with teens again at the Lake Champlain Waldorf High School. In wilderness expeditions with her students, she learned the value of taking healthy risks, embracing discomfort, and pushing through limiting beliefs. Laura took her first self-defense class when she was in her early 20s, after which she threw away the can of mace she carried. She gained self-confidence there. In 2007, she was called to action. She was distraught at the thought of women and children in Vermont that were experiencing harm and knew she could help. That could be prevented with self-defense skills. She traveled and got trained to teach safety and self-defense skills to people of all ages. Kidpower for kids, Teenpower for teens, and Fullpower for adults. And she opened Kidpower Vermont, which is part of Kidpower International. And since then, she has taught over 1,700 children, parents, and teens and adults and adult professionals the life-changing and life-saving skills of Kidpower. It is her mission to eradicate sexual abuse in Vermont and beyond. She teaches people of all ages how to speak up, set boundaries, stay safe, and practicing what to say in situations. Her classes are active in confidence building, giving her participants the skills they can use right away. Laura works with schools, businesses, and community groups across Vermont. She lives in Moncton with her husband, sometimes kids that come back, and 2 Australian cattle dogs. I give you Laura.
Thanks, Don. Thanks for inviting me today. I want to start with a little story. Last fall, a 12-year-old Kidpower graduate named Lisa realized she was being followed home from the store where she had been with a friend. What helped her in that moment was that she had practiced being aware, taking charge, and getting help. She stayed aware, got ready to use self-defense if she needed to, and told her friend to call their parents. When the man heard them calling their parents, he said something to them and disappeared. She said to me, "I knew what to do because you taught me Kidpower." This morning, I want to talk about the difference between knowing about safety and actually being able to use safety skills in the moment. How do I tell you? Switch slides.
I will. You can just tell me. Look at me, but
Your secret hand signals.
yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Kidpower teaches people of all ages how to prevent and stop bullying, sexual abuse, and other forms of harm by practicing what to say and do in real life situations. We help people build skills and confidence so that they can take action when things are stressful. We teach through practice and not fear. As John said, Kidpower Vermont is part of Kidpower International, which has been teaching these skills since 1989. And in that time, Kidpower programs have reached more than 10 million people worldwide. When people think about keeping kids safe, what do we usually teach?
Find an adult.
Find an adult, yeah.
Or avoid strangers.
Avoid strangers, yeah.
Scream.
Scream. What you said? Yes. Yell.
Awareness.
Be aware, yeah.
Stop, drop, and roll.
Stop, stop. I remember that message. Yeah, some of those are the common things that we teach kids. And the important thing to remember in that is that unsafe situations don't always look like the stereotypes. Next. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys is sexually abused before they turn 18. These are numbers, but they're important because prevention needs to match reality. In Vermont in 2024, there were 663 instances of child abuse and neglect that were substantiated. Next. Of those, 204 were sexual abuse cases. These are substantiated cases, meaning reported, investigated, and confirmed. Next. In these cases, children knew the person who harmed them in 85% of the cases. This means that kids need skills for situations involving people they know and trust, not just strangers. And it means that adults need tools to coach kids in these skills effectively. That's the bad news. Okay, let's go to the next one. How Kidpower helps. We teach kids through what we call the positive practice method. Awareness by itself can increase anxiety without making us safer. We would probably never expect a child to deal with a fire emergency without having practiced what to do ahead of time. That's why we do fire drills. Similarly, we teach personal safety with practice. Some people rely mostly on warnings when it comes to personal safety, but in Kidpower, we turn that around so that kids actually practice the skills that they need to keep themselves safe. In stressful situations, people are more likely to do what they have practiced. So let's try a short example. Here's an example of the difference that a little practice can make. So where you're sitting, if you would join me, put your hands on your throat really gently and lean back and say, quit it. You did it. Do you feel really powerful after saying that? Sound a little screechy. Okay, now lean forward and look at me really meanly and point at me and say, get out of my face.
Get out of my face.
That's what we call aggressive. And now sit tall, put your hand on your belly and say, please stop.
Please stop.
A lot better. That's what we call assertive. That's a quick skill that we work on with kids, and then we practice using our voice effectively to set boundaries and to be clear with other people, because people will listen to us more and bother us less when we talk in that way than the other 2 ways. So that's part of Kidpower's positive practice method. We use age-appropriate lecture role plays and coach people step by step so that they can be successful while practicing real skills. And we focus on progress, not perfection. Next. When we work with children, one of the safety rules we teach them is to check first with your adults before changing the plan about who you're with and where you're going. This is true whether it's a stranger or someone we know, because we are safer when we know where our kids are, and the kids are safer when their adults know where they are and who they're with. John, would you practice something with me?
Sure.
Pretend to be a kid? Okay. So John, let's pretend that you are a child playing outside of your house and Debbie is your grown-up inside the house. I'm your friend's mom, so someone you know really well. So it's okay for you to talk to me. But still your job is to check first before you change your plan. So if I say, hey, John, my dog got lost again. Come help me find the dog. Say, I need to check first.
I need to check first.
No, come on, there's no time. The dog's lost. I need help right now.
No, I need to check first, really, I do.
Okay, all right, I'll wait and go to Debbie, go to your mom and say,
I do. Hey, Mom.
wants me to help her find Tilly.
You know, Tilly's dog, Spot, it's missing. And can I go help?
Okay,
Say, thank you for checking.
thank you for checking.
You can go help her.
You can go help her.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you. John, good job, John. Good job checking first. We practice this repeatedly so that children can use it automatically. Sure. It would be hard to say to a grown-up.
But you know,
"Hey, I have to go check," especially because he knows me, right? And I'm his friend, I'm his friend's mom. It's hard to say, no, wait, I need to go check. And so we want to reinforce that. So grown-ups say, thank you for checking first. Yeah, you can go. And so the more practice we can give, the better. Next, with teenagers, we talk about boundaries and our right to have them, and we practice. So I'm going to do a little practice with all of you. So if you're willing, put your hand on your shoulder and pretend that's my hand and that you don't want it there. But let's say I didn't notice that you don't like having my hand on your shoulder. So you're going to have to tell me. So everyone, please say, please take your hand off my shoulder.
Please take
your hand off my shoulder. And the hand comes off. But sometimes people don't listen the first time. So maybe we're still talking and a few minutes later, the hand comes back. So put back on. So now you're going to have to tell me a little more forcefully. So take my hand and give it back to me. With your other hand, you can give it back. Your hands up like a little fence and say, I said stop. I don't like it.
I said stop. I don't like it.
Great. And hopefully I would listen then. But sometimes people try to make us wrong for having boundaries. So that might look like, oh, you're hurting my feelings. Or if you're a teenager, it might look like, God, you're in a bad mood. So you can say, I'm not in a bad mood. I just don't want your hand on my shoulder.
So you have your hand on your shoulder.
Good.
Or I'll punch you.
That's
Make it your
it is for emergencies only. When the other skills are not working and you think you're about to be hurt or taken away from safety. So I wouldn't advise punching in that situation. But I do teach, but I do appreciate that you mentioned it because we do teach defense as an emergency backup skill. And so that is something that is available to kids and adults. So with teenagers, we start with low pressure situations like someone's hand on their shoulder and then help them practice being successful step by step. And then we connect those same skills to situations that are relevant to their lives. So it might be, come on, let me copy your homework. Or, hey, let's leave this party and go somewhere private. So you can see how these skills transfer to more relevant situations. And the practice helps them when the stakes get higher. Teens often know what they should do or what they want to do, but practicing helps them actually say it out loud. Okay, next. One thing we teach adults to do is how to coach children in safety skills, not just tell them what to do. For example, adults often say, tell a grown-up if you have a problem. But in real life, we are sometimes really busy and really distracted. Sometimes we're cranky, and sometimes we minimize their problems. Also, sometimes we overreact to their problems, and so they think we can't handle their problems. Teenagers often think, I can't tell them, they'll freak out. So we practice the skill with kids. We teach adults how to practice with their own kids, how to get help from a busy adult. So let's see, would you like to practice this with me?
Sure.
Okay, so let's say that that Terry is a kid and you were at school and some older kids pushed you in the bathroom and blocked your way and you felt scared. So let's pretend that I'm your grown-up. Who's a grown-up that you would have gone to at home? Who's a grown-up for you when you were a kid?
Mother.
Mother. Okay, so let's pretend I'm your mom and you come home and I'm busy working. And let's see if I'm helpful. I won't be at first. But I'll coach you on what to do. Okay. Hi, Terry. Welcome home from school. Did you have a good day?
My mom sure did.
Now tell me that you didn't say it. No, I had a process. I coach you. So,
No, I had a problem.
sorry, what's that?
I had a problem.
Oh, glad you had a good day. Am I listening?
No.
So you're gonna have to get my attention. So say, Mom, I really need to talk to you.
Hey, Mom, I really need to talk to you.
Terry, I really need to finish this report before the end of the day. So, I need you to give me some time. Am I helping?
No.
No. So here's some magic word you can say, a magic phrase you can say. Say, this is about my safety.
This is about my safety.
It's about your safety? Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. Go ahead and tell me. And then he would get to tell me the story. And to practice, I would continue to be difficult. Actually, I would either minimize it and say, oh, that's just kids being kids, and have him practice saying, I was scared. I need to tell you the whole story. Or I might freak out and say, who are those kids' parents? I'm going to call them right now. And he would have to practice being persistent and calm and saying, I need to tell you the whole story. I need to get your help. Because sometimes we don't react properly. And so we coach kids in how to help us do the right thing for them, sort of like managing up, but for children. So let's clap for Terry. Good job. So everyone say, this is about my safety.
This is about my safety.
Oh, now I'll listen. I want to pause here for questions. If you have questions right now, how much time do we have? Yeah, 20 more minutes. Okay. So what questions do you have so far?
The tricky one I saw on a slide back is safety on, and that's such a growing problem. And what do you do about to help kids with that? And that you had it under teens, but what I'm told is it would happen even younger.
Yeah, it turns out we need to teach that to parents of 6-year-olds because they're giving them phones.
Yes.
So that was a surprise. Yeah, I probably need to edit that. So with safety online, the what kids need to be safe online is they need technical skills, which they probably have exceeding ours already. They need the presence of a caring adult in their online lives, which means we are not off the hook, even when they're teenagers. And they need social emotional skills. They need skills, the same skills that we teach for in real life boundary setting and getting help and being aware. So the same skills that we teach in all of our everyday safety classes, we transfer to online settings. So for example, being aware online might mean noticing when something changes, noticing when somebody is trying to put you down on an online game. If you're doing interactive gaming, how do people mess with you in that app? How do people try to get under your skin? Being aware means paying attention to. Taking charge means knowing how to say no if somebody is asking you for personal information when you're interacting with a person you don't know online. It might mean leaving a room, leaving a chat room, or leaving a game when somebody is bothering you and just turning off your computer. It might mean standing up for somebody else who's getting picked on in a game. And getting help might mean reporting somebody who's misbehaving online. In different games, there are ways to report another player, or it might mean going and getting your adults to help you. And we have a digital contract for families that they can edit and set their own guidelines for their family on what the standards are, what are their values, and how do those play out in an online setting. And to remind kids that when there is a problem online, they are still entitled to help from their adults, even if they've made a mistake. So and in the contract, they talk about what will happen if they make a mistake, if they break some of their guidelines, if they break some of their rules. And we encourage families to revise these documents as time goes on. It should be a living document that grows with your child. The rules might be different when they're 8 than when they are 12, than when they're 17. And so that's how we work with online safety. Yes.
So speaking of awareness, it seems to me, and I don't have any information about unsafe situations, but I have noticed that people in their 20s and maybe in their 30s are seldom aware of the people right near them. examples might be, right, or you're in the grocery store and someone in their twenties steps in front of you to get something, even though you're standing there, or you're walking down the street and a 20-something-year-old steps right in front of you, as though they didn't even know you were there. I grew up learning to be aware of my surroundings because my husband and I have traveled in big cities, and it's important to have a sense of where you are at any given time. My assumption, and it might be wrong, is that these 20-somethings aren't aware because they're so used to the screen. And they've been trained to be focused on the screen and not on everything else around them. How do you deal with that? Or is that even not an issue?
Yeah, we teach awareness to everybody that we work with, children, teens, adults. We practice walking with awareness and calm and confidence. And we will do an exercise like, for example, having kids walk away from me and tell them to look around and notice everything around them. And while they're walking away, I'll do something silly like turn around and then ask them when they get to the other side, did anybody see me do something strange? And if they didn't, usually most of them don't, then I have them do it again. And this time everybody notices me. So we practice awareness, noticing what's happening around us. And we teach parents to make games of awareness, noticing what's changing, noticing when your gut tells you something is different. And yes, it is a skill that is a foundational safety skill, to be aware of what's happening around us. We teach it to everybody, 20-somethings and younger and older. Questions? Yeah.
The statistic that 85% of the sexual abuse cases were people that the kids knew was surprising to me. Was the stranger danger campaign kind of a swing and a miss in that sense? Like, has that data changed over the recent history, or has that always kind of been the case?
I don't have exact data on that, but I suspect it's always been like that.
Is that being taught more to kids now, like even outside of your program? You know?
I hope so.
Yeah.
In our program, we teach everyday safety for people we know, and stranger safety. Stranger danger is an unfortunate, clever rhyme. We teach stranger safety because awareness and fear mongering do not make us safer. Skills make us safer. Awareness paired with skills makes us safer. So we teach stranger safety because situations with strangers where they have bad intentions can be very dangerous. And so kids do need skills for those situations. And because most of the harm, unfortunately, is caused by people that they know and trust, they also need skills for how to deal with that. Mm-hmm. And the trick is how to teach that without scaring them, because we don't want kids to be scared of everyone in their lives that they should be able to trust. And so we teach stranger safety in a very matter-of-fact, calm way and say, you don't need to worry about this. You just need to follow your stranger safety rules. And so that means that if something changes, they're equipped with the skills to leave and get help. And that's what all of our skills teach kids to move away from somebody who is causing trouble and get help from another adult. And we help them identify who are some adults who could help you if you had a safety problem. And we make sure everybody has some adults they can think of. And we ask them to keep telling until they get the help they need, even if they have to tell 100 grown-ups.
Let's hope not, right?
Yeah.
We have a grandson who has gone through a phase of not wanting to be in pictures. And we just respect that. You don't need to be in pictures. You can take the pictures if you want. You don't even have to be around. We'll just know that you were with us. And he doesn't like hugs. So there are no hugs, elbow bumps, fist bumps, whatever, but he doesn't like hugs. And there was a time when it wasn't okay not to hug your grandparents or, other relatives. Mm-hmm. But we've just made it a point that, no, that's your space, your body. And we're very respectful of that.
Well, kudos to you for that respectfulness.
Well, that's great. It has to be. Do you want to hug someone who's like this?
No. And that is something that one of the foundational things we teach is that our bodies belong to us, and that touch for affection or play or games has to be the choice of each person, safe, allowed by the adults in charge, and not a secret. That means even for relatives who a child, they have to do what you're doing and respect the child as one of the people who gets to weigh in on whether they like that or not. And sometimes people resist that. They say, oh, it's my grandchild. I should be able to get a hug. And so we can explain, people usually understand when you say, we don't want that child in 10 years to be on a date and have somebody say, but I love you. You have to give me this hug. It's pretty clear then that we want them to be able to say no, even to people they really like. And so we can help model that for them, that that's always a choice, even with someone they really love. So kudos to your family for taking that stance. Other questions? Yes.
So you haven't talked about, how do they physically, defend themselves? Is there any general idea or just general things that you're gonna tell them?
Yeah, Kidpower International has spent the last, I can't do the math that quickly, but since 1989, they have been honing the skills that we all teach internationally. The skills came from different kinds of martial arts with consultation with law enforcement people and psychologists and teachers, and they've chosen skills that are easy to learn in a short period of time, because it's not like a martial art where we're with people for years. We might be with someone for an hour or a couple hours once. So we pick skills that are easy to learn, that use gross motor skills in case someone doesn't have a lot of motor skills, and that are effective from a smaller, weaker person against a larger, stronger person. And so we teach a series of skills that address the most common ways that a child might be attacked, and practice those in a sequence. We practice either with kick pad, either in the air, just like in the air right here, or with a kick pad where they get to practice hitting and kicking and feel how hard to hit and feel what it feels like to hit something hard and get coaching in that. Or some of the centers have padded instructors where you can practice hitting and kicking on a padded person who's protected so that they can practice what that feels like too. And so we practice a sequence of defending yourself from somebody who's coming from the front, and a series of defending against someone who's coming from the back. And we practice them so that we have the memories in our bodies of how that works. And that way, in a real life situation, if we're kind of startled, our bodies can kick in and literally do what we've practiced. And that's something that we can teach to kids as young as 6 years old. Their adults want that. Yes.
Where is this teaching happening? Are you going into the schools, community centers, or where?
Yeah, that's great question. I teach in schools or in places like public places like libraries where people can bring their families, or professional development for youth serving organizations. So I go to where people are who want to learn these skills.
And is it a series of classes? It sounds like this isn't just like a 1 hour program.
It can be both. It depends on what people want to learn. It can be anything from, well, if it's very little children, it could be just a 40-minute time with puppets, practicing the skills, up to a 4-hour course for teens that includes physical self-defense. And sometimes people schedule that over a period of weeks or days, and sometimes it's just one day only. And other places, some schools have me come back year after year, so the kids get different skills as they grow, or they get different scenarios to practice the skills as they grow up. And so there's lots of different ways to do it. And ideally, the adults are learning to continue the practice, to continue reinforcing the skills. And we sell curriculum guides so that people can independently continue the learning after we've left. Or there are free resources on the international website so that people can get coaching in how to practice these skills with their own children or the children that they work with, so that it's a sustainable thing. They don't always have to have us come back in, but they can. Yes, John.
Yeah, how is Kidpower funded?
Kidpower is funded by class fees, like workshop fees, by grants, and by donations. Any other questions?
I have a question, yeah. I think I've just noticed that in the last 10 to 15 years, it seems like society has gotten a lot more aggressive, gotten a lot less civil. in a lot of different ways. Is that, but I might have been living in a bubble, so is that true? And are people getting more aggressive? And if they are, why they're getting more aggressive? Seems like everybody's like in your face and cutting you off and, cutting you off and on the road and road rage and just things that just seem to be ramped up.
Yeah, I don't have data about that, but I have my personal experience where it seems like that to me. And one of the things that we strive to do in Kidpower is to create cultures of caring and respect, where everyone has the right to be respected and has the responsibility to be respectful to others. So that is something that we hope that we're addressing every time we do a class, every time we work with a child or a community. We hope that we're instilling in them skills and values to be respectful to other people. Yes.
Kind of to follow up on that, something that I have to keep telling myself in the midst of the chaos of the world is that I noticed in my kids' schools, kids are so much kinder to each other than they were when I was in school. And it's really noticeable. Like, they encourage people if they're struggling. They support people. Like, my son had a play on stage and someone was in tears because they couldn't speak publicly, and all the kids were like clapping for them on stage. So I agree with what you're saying, but I think at least in Williston or in our Vermont bubble, maybe, the kids are learning to be kinder, which I find it.
It helps, but the problem.
Yeah.
That's great. It's great that that's happening. Any other questions? Okay, next slide. A lot of Kidpower's growth happens through introductions. One introduction to a school principal, a library director, a youth organization, a pediatrician, or a business sponsor can help dozens or even hundreds of kids get these skills. Next. One of the most important tools that adults can give kids is the strong belief that they can come to us. So I would like to challenge each of you to make the Kidpower protection promise to a young person in your life this week. And I'll tell you what it says, in case you can't read it. You are very important to me. If you have a safety problem, I want to know, even if I seem too busy, even if someone we care about will be upset, even if it's embarrassing, even if you promise not to tell, and even if you made a mistake, please tell me, and I will do everything in my power to help you. Next.
Well said.
Thank you.
Actually, can you go back one slide? I think that's good for everyone, excuse me, not just kids.
That's true.
Can you get it
I
okay?
promise you, thank you.
And do you have pamphlets, contact? I'm a library person. This seems like amazing.
So I was just thinking, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd love to talk to you further.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to you. Yeah, I have things I can send you. I can send you materials or bring you printed things if you'd like.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lord. Help me keep our most important resource safe our kids and families. We have two things for you. So thank you. We are making a donation in your name to Kid Mentoring Program at the school. So
Thank you.
our mentoring program, we help kids get through their lives like that. So we do our part, interact with kids. So,
Thank you. I love that.
and we do a raffle. How many cards do we have, Andy? Just 2 cards. They choose to win $100. It's 100, right, Andy? You get
Yeah.
Okay.
the number. Read the last 3 digits.
Okay. Last 3 digits are 853.
853.
Take a dime. Good one.
Next week's a guaranteed winner.
Talk about fundraisers.
Thank you, Laura. That was the great presentation.
Surprise.
That's a very cagey.
What's that?
She said it's a $100 card. No, it's not. It's just one left.
Wow. So we'll just have a couple quick announcements. In my update, I provided that there's free Rotary training. If you haven't gotten training before, there's a list of things you can read about. Some of it's PR, some of it's leadership, some of it's just how to go about being a Rotarian. So it's free. Go online, check it out. Link is there. And this Saturday, the non-Rotary event is at the Wilson Federated Church. There's a food drive. So I know a lot of people already do their things for different food shelves, but if you have a chance, bring some food in, canned food. Later in the month, we're going to have Memorial Day observance. I think you're all set with that. Do you need any
I will need,
assistance? Here,
I will
Leslie.
need,
I have a sign-up sheet for lots of different opportunities, so please see me before you leave today.
On the 30th of the month, we have a number of things. We have our Epic Day of Service. That's at Sleep in Heavenly Peace. So there's a sign up. Was there a sign up for that, or do you want them to just contact you?
contact.
Here.
What's the date on that?
I'm giving you the mic again.
Actually, yeah,
Saturday.
So September 30th was to be the Epic Day of Service. I cannot participate. My great nephew, who has brain cancer, just turned 4 yesterday, and that's his birthday party, so I will be in New York for that. So the Epic Day of Service will be changed to a different date.
You said September.
Okay.
You meant May.
September.
That's what you
No,
said.
May 30th. So the Epic Day of Service will be changed.
Okay, good. Because we did have two other things.
Yeah.
We had Dragon Days going on, so do you just want to do quick again what Dragon Days are?
Yeah, so Dragon Days is down in St. George, which is where we got Helen Tracy from last year. So a very important event. It's just a table where we talk about and promote Rotary. I need 2 to 3 more volunteers. We've got 3 so far, but 2 to 3 more folks to make sure that we can reach out to everyone that's there.
Do you need plants for that?
I do need plans for that,
I have all the plant.
which we already have all the things, so we're good.
oh, you don't need any.
You could always give us one.
Okay, also on the 30th, there's the Girls on the Run 5K in Essex. So I think there's a sign up, there's a link here if you want to do that. And then on June 1st, we have our changeover. So, Andy?
Sorry, I didn't get on your agenda, but one quick thing here. So there will be I'll send out an email rather than do it now. There'll be one opportunity to do probably a couple hours of community service. This involves some painting of asphalt. You may recall, the so-called Michael Fund is used to, we're gonna do a traffic garden so kids can learn to ride bikes and stuff. The asphalt was laid in the fall, so we're being asked to, paint it. So I'll send around a sheet. We'll figure out a day, probably a couple of hours, and it's should be fun. And then the park will get open. There'll be a sign with Rotary and all kinds of cool stuff. So look for an email.
Okay, one other one that I did not put in my notes, so hopefully people can help me here. The spelling bee that we've gone to, and which is Rotary Club. Which Rotary Club? Burlington. We will have a team again. I believe the team is Lori, Lisbeth, and Howard. They sat together. Probably brainstorming for the particular. Yeah.
Supporters also.
They need supporters, and it's a good time, and it's a good cause, and they make a lot of money. I believe it's the 25th, right?
21st.
21st.
at 4:45 in Burlington,
I
So
mean,
can we get that?
21st of May.
21st of May.
Last year, we didn't have people go cheering on the group, and I think it really mattered. That's why we didn't win.
Oh,
Chris, any other announcements, anybody? All right, Chris, come on up.
All right.
Because it was Airbnb still in your of mine before you.
Oh.
All right, so I already paid my dollars to the Happy Sad Fund. I wanted to thank the speaker for coming in and talking about Kidpower. And when I joined the mentoring program many years ago, I had an opportunity to do something that I never thought I would have to, and that was my student or my mentee's best friend used to stop by the mentoring space. And one day my student wasn't there, but this friend was. And he shared with me that he was really down, and he didn't say he was going to hurt himself, but he was alluding to it. So I was put in a position where I knew I had to report it. And afterwards, I was so glad I did, because that same child came up to me, student came up to me later and said, I know you had a hand in this, thank you. And so this stuff was all really important, and I thank you for being here. And I like your mug. Let's hear it for Orange Bugs. So